Hello, lovely people. Let's talk ancestor magic and ancestor work, and how I discussed before back in September, pre-Youtober, how I was trying to get into some more ancestor work. Because of that, here are some of my plans for Samhain that I will be doing. Now, one of the things that I have the lovely privilege of is that my mother has collected a shit ton of photos from all the way through the ages of my family tree, going all the way back on both sides, mother and father's. So I am kind of going to take the time some point before Samhain, when I have like a nice chill quiet witchy evening, create a very nice sacred space. And as this veil is thinning, what I want to do is just sit down and start scrolling through and looking at the different ancestors, what notes are in there, whether or not they're an asshole or one who seemed more neutral or good leaning. There's a couple specifically that I kind of want to give some credence to. One of those is my great grandfather on my mother's side, by her adoptive father. He has been a man who we've kind of been told of his story. He survived the Armenian genocide, and so his resilience and his connectivity has always been a thing that has for sure been lingering in the background, is very much kind of part of my coming up in the world type of deal, especially when it's dealing with culture and family and that type of stuff. So I definitely have some photos that I know my mother has of him somewhere in that ancestry.com situation. So I kind of want to print one of him out and put him in a frame, very much kind of like you are of importance. Either put him up on a wall and or a shelf. And then also I wanted then, in honoring my father's side, I got to know both of my great grandmothers on both my grandfather and my grandmother's side on the father's side. Are you following me with this situation? But one specifically I was very, very close to. She lived right next door to my grandparents. She would cook for me when I was younger, and she was there for a lot longer as I grew up. And I remember visiting her in the nursing home, even as she was dealing with Alzheimer's. And I was always fascinated specifically with her, with the stories that she would tell when she was slightly confused at times, because she was always very insistent, specifically with me and my sister, with passing on very interesting information that later, when we asked Godfather, her eldest son, or my grandfather, her youngest, about the stories, they would then clarify, kind of like, oh, I think she was referencing this. And it was always fascinating, the little bits and stories that I got to hear from her. And so I do miss her dearly. I unfortunately never got to meet my great-grandfather on my mom's side. But those are two people who, through the ages, I think are very important, and I would like to honor and do more of an ancestral thing. They also have very much the Italian woman situation, the cooking, that type of deal, although hers is very varied in itself. And then the Middle Eastern Armenian, mixing in with some of the Southern culture and taking on new cultures, always that resilience, that endurance, that is very key to both of them. They are both immigrants. Both of them busted their asses in multiple ways to make sure that them and their families had everything that they needed and could survive even. So I definitely want to honor those two. I also, too, to kind of go along with the whole situation that is the assholes in my family tree, I kind of think it would be kind of funny in a way to, this will be a long-term project, so probably not going to be done by this Samhain, but overall I kind of want to draw out my own little family tree situation. But everywhere that there is someone who I have documentation was a piece of shit, like I know, I want to mark them somehow. I want to put like a little red dot or something on the tree and like just kind of mark of like, nah, you're and then I kind of want to do a little bit of a blocking or a banishing ritual, I think, overall, so that going forward, as I connect more with my roots and my ancestors overall, I can then block out the people who would not do good mixing in or calling in or giving any sort of advice. I don't want your advice. You were a piece of shit. No. So that's kind of my rough idea of kind of what I want to do for Samhain. And then beyond that even is one of the reasons that I fell off of Youtober last year is I had a very dear cousin of mine pass away very tragically. And she is one of the few people who I would not mind having a experience with her otherworldly form if she so deigns it. So I think I want to, during Samhain, I always like try to have a little meal, little something, just a little regrounding after whatever spell works I do. And I think I also want to have a little bit of an offering plate, and specifically it'll be for her. It is not just to all the ancestors, it'll be for her specifically. As she has gone on, and that connectivity to the dead on that front, I think, is very potent, because she's not the first person that has passed away that was around my age. I've had, unfortunately, a lot of friends pass very tragically while I was in high school and college. But there's something about her passing specifically that I just feel very emotional about overall. So we're gonna try not to cry about it, but yes, that is basically kind of my plans for ancestor work for Samhain and going on beyond that. So I'll comment down below, are any of you guys getting into ancestor work and playing with stuff and maybe adapting your new Samhain rituals? Of course, I will also be doing a year ahead spread around the witches' new year type of situation, which originally comes from more Celtic backgrounds and stuff, but I've been doing it for a little bit and I quite like it. So yeah, those are kind of my loose plans right now. So tell me yours down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.